Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Space Force Association's first ever Space Innovation Talks. Today, we're going to be discussing Hackasat, and I am your host, Eric Sunby, a member of the Board of Directors here at the Space Force Association and chair of our Legislative Engagement Committee. Today, I'm on with Captain Bolen and Captain Preiss. And Captain Bolen, would you like to explain your background?
Hey, Eric, thanks for having me here. Yeah, so hello, everybody. Aaron Bolen. I am currently at the Space and Missile Systems Center. My background, I have a degree from the University of Tennessee in aerospace engineering. My first assignment was in San Antonio, working cyber as a program manager. And now, like I said, I'm at the Space and Missile Systems Center, where I lead a team of tech outreach as well as space experimentation.
Thank you. And Captain Preiss, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. No, thank you, Eric. Again, I want to echo Aaron's remarks. Thank you for having us here. I'm Captain Preiss. I am also stationed at Space and Missile Systems Center, specifically in cross-mission ground and communications. I graduated from the Air Force Academy in 2015, and from there, I got stationed at Fort Meade in Maryland doing cyber network operations. And now I am the Defensive Cyber Operations for Space Program Manager stationed at SNC.
So as you all can see, we have some impressive folks with us today. But one of the first questions, we can just dive right into them, that I have and that we would like our audience to know is, what is Hackasat?
Thanks, Eric, for that question. That's an awesome question. So Hackasat is an effort that was spurred by Dr. Roper. It was brought about for Hackasat 2020, which happened last year at the DEF CON Security Conference. For those who don't know, DEF CON is one of the biggest cybersecurity conferences in the world, happens in Vegas every year. So industry has been a part of DEF CON for many years. Dr. Roper said, you know what, we need to be a part of it as well, meaning, bringing the government and really leveraging, the expertise. So one thing about DEF CON, though, is that it is a meritocracy. So when you show up, you got to give back and you have to educate, which is great. So Hackasat was born to bring awareness of space and cyber multi-domain operations, as well as just all things space operations, how space pertains to our everyday life. And not just the everyday life of, me as a military member, but the everyday life of the world, whether that's, your GPS in your car or your banking system. So you go to the ATM, you use your debit card, communications, everything. Space plays in all of it. So Hackasat was born, like I said, to bring awareness. It's an education campaign as much as it is anything. And we're just really excited to be a part of not only the DEF CON community, but just the global community of interested parties that involve space. Allie, do you have any follow on?
No, I think you hit it right on the head.
Well, thank you for that. And it sounds really interesting. It sounds like something that can relate to everybody's daily life and how important national security is to our daily life. I would then like to ask, when and where can people sign up for Hackasat and the contest?
So I could take this one. So people can sign up for Hackasat at hackasat.com. We went live on May 4th. May the 4th be with you. That's a, Star Wars joke. And
it's my birthday.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
Perfect. Just for your birthday. But yeah, you can go to hackasat.com and you can register up until June 26th. June 26th is when qualifications will start. It's a 2-day event, June 26th to June 27th. And anyone can register. Minors can register. You just need parental consent. But we're really looking to engage as many people as possible and really bridge that knowledge gap between the cyber and space domains. So hackasat.com.
And just to throw on, so anybody who's interested, so go to hackasat.com and take a look at what we've got there. We have a wealth of data and info from last year. We have a lot of training resources, material. There's a lot of good stuff there. So even if you're not interested in necessarily participating, but you want to follow along, again, hackasat.com has a wealth of resources. And it's, again, giving back to that whole knowledge and education of space and how space relates to cyber, and how, the space cyber infects the global space commons that we all participate in our daily lives.
Thank you so much for that information. And I would like to ask a little bit more in depth. What exactly is the event with Hackasat? Allie?
Yeah, so last year, as Aaron said, we went to DEF CON, which is the largest and longest standing cybersecurity research community in the world. And we brought a Capture the Flag event. And really what that was is a virtual scavenger hunt. So the competitors did not know the next challenge until they solved the previous task. So this year we wanted to do something a little different for the finals, and the final event will be an attack defense style event. And every single team that makes it to the finals will get their own flat sat. And a flat sat is a fully representative hardware and software components of a satellite. And they will have to attack and defend their own satellite. This will, we're looking at service uptime. So whoever's satellite is up the longest will accrue the most points, and they will be the winners. Some of the satellites, they might start with different vulnerabilities, and the teams will have to patch their own satellites, or they can exploit other people's satellites. So really, people have to be well-versed in both offensive and defensive tactics in order to win the attack defense style game that we are putting on this year.
That really sounds awesome. It sounds like something that people are going to have a really fun time with. And it's cool to see how directly it impacts, I say national security a lot, but I mean, it comes right back to our national security, but it allows, people who may never have had any part to play to actually contribute both to their nation and also to protecting themselves in the long run. So, regarding that, will the online qualifications round have challenges from all standard categories like crypto, PWN, REV, web, or will there be a specific focus instead?
So, Eric, thanks for the question. So the online quals, without giving a whole lot away, they're going to be involving, it's a Jeopardy style game. So points based on different categories. And the categories are going to be all inclusive to everything space cyber. So again, I stress, go online, check out our resources, get smart. And again, as those who aren't familiar with Jeopardy, you start with the easy questions and they go down, more and more points for the harder questions. So it's going to be a breadth of questions on different topics. And ultimately, the teams with the most points will succeed.
Awesome. Sounds fun. I think a question that a lot of people probably have is, why does the Air Force and the Space Force want to allow, individuals, civilians, hackers into a government satellite? Doesn't that seem a little bad?
So, Eric, again, great question. Thanks for that. It all stems back to education, right? So as we as space goers, the global space community, have more and more access to space, the barrier to enter space is getting, lower and lower, with, the cost effectiveness and the new technologies and the capabilities. So it's important for us to educate, the world on space operations, to be good stewards of space, to understand the impacts of space, not only on, your daily life, but everybody's daily life. And again, just to make sure that everybody's aware of just how critical space is and it plays into their daily life. So we're not super focused as much on, like you were saying, it's more of how can we help educate? How can we help bring awareness? How can our challenges, be fun, but at the same time be educational? And again, leveraging, DEF CON, leveraging that community, like Dr. Roper's intent, these non-traditional activities, and help, the betterment of space overall and the protection of space overall. Definitely,
like to inspire and get people involved more so than they've had access to in the past. So I see the reasoning for this, and it seems like an awesome opportunity and program. So what's Space and Missile Systems Center's role in Hackasat?
So I can go into my specific role, and then Allie will go into her specific role. Just realize that we are a team, right? So between Allie and I, we represent all of SMC's involvement with Hackasat, but we're not the only ones. We have, as Allie mentioned earlier, partners over in the Air Force Research Lab, AFRL, that we're working hand in hand with, as well as the Defense Digital Service, DDS. So it is a true community that we are bringing to Hackasat. So my specific role with Hackasat, like I mentioned in my intro, I lead a team that's focused in tech outreach as well as experimentation. So when I talk tech outreach, I'm talking specifically these smaller, non-traditional companies like Silicon Valley companies or academia that have just recently started getting into space, but are doing incredible, amazing things. So I go out and identify these unique capabilities and find opportunities through experimentation to bring them in and prove them out, right? So, I mean, that's Hackasat in a nutshell. So for me, it's bringing those relevant capabilities and technologies and ideas to the Hackasat team to help, inform challenges, as well as, and we'll get into it here in a little bit, I'm sure, but the actual on-orbit capability that we're developing for future DEF CON purposes. So when you talk Hackasat, you're talking actually hacking a satellite. And again, we can get into that here in a little bit because it's really exciting. Allie, why don't you cover what you're doing?
Yeah, so like I had said earlier, I'm with the Defensive Cyber Operations for Space Program Office under Cross Mission Ground and Communications. So we are looking for innovative ways to improve our defensive cyber operation capabilities. So going out to DEF CON, where the top cybersecurity researchers attend, and learning from them is something that we're trying to do within our organization. So that is a big portion of what my team is working on and what we're pairing with Aaron's team as well as AFRL and DDS to bring this program out to the community.
Awesome. Well, what you guys are doing is great, and I just want to thank you for doing it. But also, you mentioned earlier a flat sat. So I guess we should go just a little bit into that, because Aaron, you kind of mentioned, hacking into a satellite and the potential for, you mentioned, our satellites in orbit. So a flat sat is a satellite on the ground, right? We're not actually hacking a satellite in orbit yet, or are we?
Great. Awesome. Great question. So that's going into our multi-year campaign, right? So Hackasat, what is Hackasat? It's not just a one-year thing. And who are we, right? So specifically, we're SMC, or Space and Missile Systems Center. We are the acquisitions of, satellites. So since we're SMC, we wanted to create this awesome multi-year campaign of come along with us and learn about what it takes to design, develop, build, launch, and operate a satellite. Again, giving back to the whole education, the meritocracy of what DEF CON and Hackasat is, the whole nature and spirit of this event. So when we talk flat sats, we're talking satellite emulation on the ground. So, it's essentially just a robust computer built out with sensors, hardware, software, everything that the satellite is, but it's not in orbit. And that is a common mechanism that we, as developers of space capability, use when we're developing and building a satellite. So it's essentially it's an on the ground terrestrial satellite. And then the next step, right, is once it's proven out on the flat sat, is the on-orbit key, the on-orbit component of that. And so going back to the multi-year, so first year this year, design, next year, building, so flat sat, third year, launching and operating on orbit.
Awesome. So I think that's a really great segue into where do you see and what can we expect moving forward with Hackasat, in the future?
So I think like Aaron hit on, like that design, build, break approach. So this year As the Space and Missile Systems Center, we're bringing you on the acquisition lifecycle, teaching the community how do we build a satellite. We plan to release the design documents, really looking at a hacking and design approach. So the government, we've been really focused in the past on survivability, and we want to change that mindset and really focus on security. So this year, opening up to the community, showing the design documents, learning how do we better design a satellite, and then next year, releasing the prototype, the flat sat of the satellite we plan to launch, saying here is the flat sat. Again, what can we do better to build security into the satellites on orbit? And in year 3, no kidding, having a satellite in orbit that these hackers can hack into. So we're really excited to bring the DEF CON community onto this 3-year plan. And if they start with us this year, we're excited to bring them to the finish line and allow them hack into a real life satellite, an on-orbit satellite.
Great. Thank you so much for that information. So could you tell us a little bit more about last year's event and what all went on with that?
Sure, Eric. So yeah, last year, like I mentioned, it was the first time that space had really been, incorporated into DEF CON in this type of manner. So we weren't even sure about, how it would be accepted or recepted. We weren't sure about the participation, and we were blown away. So we announced the qualifications. We announced, what we were doing. Dr. Roper put out a series of articles, one in Wired, magazine, and word got out, spread like wildfire. We ended up having over 10,000 people apply and qualify. And then after which we had 10 teams across the globe that were our finalists that competed in DEF CON itself. And I'll let Allie talk about, what went down at DEF CON.
Hey, thank you, Aaron. So last year, PFS won first place. They won $50,000 cash prize. And second, it was Polen Can into Space, winning $30,000. And then finally, Flex Repeat Rocket won third. We also want to give a special shout out to Solar Wine. They did not place in the top 3, but they did end up getting the most points overall. And this was because of a technicality, and we really appreciate their dedication. Even knowing they couldn't win one of the cash prizes, they continued to compete. And that's some really impressive dedication. We're looking forward, hoping that they'll be participating again this year. So we wanted to let everyone know that there is cash prizes again this year. First place again will be $50,000, second place $30,000, and third $20,000. There will also be cash prizes for the top 10 teams that in quals. They will each receive $10,000. So there's a lot of money up for grabs. It's going to be a fun event. And one addition that we are doing this year. So last year, some of the feedback we received from the final 8 teams, we had sent them a flat sat so that they could do some reverse engineering. And again, it's all about that meritocracy, teaching the community. And one of the feedback was that it was difficult for the whole team to remote into the flat sat. So we were looking for new ways to reach the whole team and be able to teach them all about satellites. So this year, the final teams from the quals will be receiving a digital twin. This is basically a fully virtual flat sat. So everyone will have the ability to get their own digital twin, learn about the satellite they'll be attacking and defending for the final events. Again, looking at as many opportunities we can to teach the community and for us to learn from them.
Well, that sounds amazing. And especially the fact that there's money involved, I'm pretty sure that really amps up the competition. I'm sure there's a lot of interesting and fun stuff to watch. But so is there anything else, Aaron or Allie, that you want to let our viewers know about Hackasat this year?
Just again, foot stomp that it's open to all. Go to hackasat.com, check it out. If it seems like this is something you'd be interested in, sign up for quals and come out, check it out. If not, follow along. Like we were talking earlier, right? So 26 to 27 June, those are the Hackasat qualifiers. DEF CON itself is going to be happening 4 to 6 August. We're going to be at DEF CON doing talks, giving workshops. And then Hackasat is actually happening after DEF CON. The reason we're doing that is to allow for max participation, allow for folks to do, the DEF CON CTFs as well as come out for Hackasat. And so the Hackasat event itself is going to be 17 through 19 September. Allie, did I miss anything?
No, just follow us on our Hackasat webpage as well as Twitter, hack_a_sat, Hackasat. And we've been releasing videos so that you can follow the storyline of the Hackasat event.
And there's pretty cool merch too. So we're gonna have some sweet merch this year.
Yes, there's tons of swag.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to get the people out there. All that merch and swag. That's what gets them. So thank you both so much for chatting with me today, and to all of our viewers. Again, I can't hit it hard enough. Go to hackasat.com, check it out. Follow them on social media. Follow USSF _SMC on Twitter as well. And also check us out at Space Force Association. You can follow us at USSF.org, and also on Space Force Assoc at Twitter. Check us out on social media, and make sure to give us a like or a follow. Thank you for joining us today, and follow us again for Space Force Association Space Innovation Talks.